On this episode of Delivering Marketing Joy, we talk with Terry McGuire from Halo Branded Solutions about the one resolution that every salesperson should make. Hey there, and welcome to another edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. I'm your host, Kirby Hassman, and joining me today is a repeat guest and a rock star. His name's Terry McGuire from Halo. He's a Senior VP of Marketing, Supply Chain, and Communications for Halo. Terry, thanks so much for joining me again.
Thanks for having me on, Kirby.
Cool. Well, as we're recording this, it's sort of close to the beginning of the year, and so I know that you have a lot of roles, as your title would suggest, right? And so it's a new sales year. If you're talking to salespeople, and I know you are on a regular basis, and they were to make a New Year's sales resolution this year, what should their resolution be?
Really easy. The resolution should be make this the year of your personal sales call. Make as many personal sales calls, and a personal sales call could be over the phone, or it could be in person, or you could host a show. I think you've done your own, show for your clients. Personal interaction with as many clients and prospects as you can. It's the lost art of our industry. We have too many people relying on non-personal and using the excuse that that's the way my customers want to interact.
Right.
And so make it a point, drive yourself to make as many personal sales calls, either by phone or in person as you can with clients and prospects.
Yeah, I think that's incredible advice. And the pushback I would give, and Terry, I love social media. I love content creation. But at the end of the day, when everybody's zigging, you should zag. And so, yeah.
No, that's exactly right. And when we do some of our internal things and when we develop marketing plans. And so we're developing marketing plans. We have about 1,000 salespeople, and we're developing personal marketing plans for them. And one of the key theorems that our team uses is do what everybody else isn't.
Yeah. And
so that goes right to zig when they zag. And so everybody is, relying. And I've just seen too many examples of people that I talk to, again, literally day by day and week by week, our account executives that will say, I'm doing email marketing twice a week. I have a really cool blog, and I'm really involved in social media. I really post on Facebook and Instagram, and I'm tweeting constantly, and my phone's not ringing. And so they're kind of waiting for things to happen. They're being a little reactive, thinking that I'm doing all these activities, but I'm not paying my mortgage. And so what they're forgetting is the lost art of face-to-face interaction with a client or a prospect.
You know what? That leads wonderfully into my next question because, I love talking about successful sales tactics. At heart, I'm a sales guy, right? And so what are some of those sales rules? Personal interaction is one of them, but what are some of those sales rules that are tried and true?
Well, the sales rule that's tried and true, first of all, it goes a little bit counter to what I just said, and that is make sure that you have diversity in your client outreach.
Right.
And so don't rely completely on email marketing. And again, zig when people zag, which is a great point. I'm assuming you've used that in a lot of your sales training. But when all of your competitors are trying to reach out to clients and prospects with email, go back to the good old PSA. Go back to a dimensional mailer to make an impact that will remain to be seen. And when everyone else is doing the things like the blogs and social media, again, do things that other people aren't. Take your client to lunch. If you have a really good network, but all of that goes under the whole umbrella of you should have a very diverse strategy when you go to market. And you should really kind of cut it down the middle of going to market for prospects, and then how are you going to market to your current clients? Because obviously, a little tighter relationship with you.
Yeah, I love the idea of diversity because I think sometimes people think, well, oh, if I just do this one thing, that'll fix everything. And it's not like that because every customer wants to be reached in a different way. Whenever anybody says, well, all my clients just want this, I always call bullshit because all your clients don't want one thing. I guarantee it. So,
Well, and that's, when we develop our marketing tools, we have a really good blog. We do a lot of social media. We do industry award-winning email marketing campaigns. We have some really nice dimensional mailers. So we're doing all those things. But honestly, one of the things that in today's market seems to resonate the best and that has grown are our print catalog materials. And part of that is because people aren't getting a catalog with 350 items to browse through and to look through from other people. It's a great leave behind. And that's something that 5 years ago, if you would have told me that, I would have said, look, we reduced our print catalog budget by 40% because who wants to see a catalog anymore? But apparently there are a certain section of customers and prospects that absolutely do. That's how they want to buy.
No, that's cool. So how about you? How do you stay? You've been doing this for a couple years. I'm not going to age you or anything like that, but you've done it a little bit, right? So how do you stay fresh and excited each year? What are your secrets?
You can go ahead and tell anybody. I've been doing this for 32 years. I'm old. In fact, there are old people that I'm older than them. So I've been doing it for a long time. It's the only job I've ever had. Been working in this industry, and to keep things fresh, I've had to try new things because as the pressure of business and society grows, it's really difficult to try to figure out what's next. So, I mean, probably the two biggest things for me, and I started doing this first one about a year and a half ago, and it was one of the more difficult things I've ever done. But it was the best thing that I did, is that I devote between 1 and 2 hours every day to unplugging. No media, no social media, no phone, no distractions. And like I said, it was like weaning me off, like a crack habit or something. It was like always have my phone with me. And you always think you're going to miss something, or there's a ton anymore now. There's a ton of content that you're interested in. You want to stay on I don't care if it's sports. You want to stay relevant in whatever your client wants to talk about. You want to know what's going on. When I started making a conscious effort to unplug, and whether I like to ride, I'm a bike rider. Whether it was just because I was on my bike and I wasn't going to take any phone call or look at anything, or whether I just decided I'm going to sit on my front porch, but I am not going to look at my iPad. I'm not going to look at my laptop or my phone. My mind now, because we all live in a very compressed world, and you have to segment, the time of your life. I noticed that my mind would start to come up with really creative, and some of them were maybe a little too creative, but at least my mind was starting to work again rather than to observe and receive information. It was creating information and creativity. And so that was a really key thing for me. The other thing is, and you're kind of this way or not, I don't know how you would train someone to be this way, but you just have to be curious. And whether like this last year, my wife and I started playing pickleball because we had never done it before and people were talking about it. And that was just enough of a diversion, and it's a different social setting and just a different everything than we were used to doing, that anytime you can challenge yourself with something that's a little different and a little unique, you train your mind and your body to be able to adapt to different things. And that, I think, for me anyway, that's what's helped me kind of keep things fresh.
No, those are a great piece of advice. Challenge yourself, and the first one, I always call that creating a little bit of headspace. Just a little bit of space in your brain to let it actually marinate a little bit. So I love that.
And you know what? It sounds really easy, but anymore, now you've got your personal fitness devices that I have mine on, and you're getting your text messages there, or their technology is trying to find every way possible to grab as much attention of yours during your waking hours as you can. And so I hate to say it, but it's the old, grab quiet place. So.
Yeah, it's funny. I got an iWatch a couple years ago, and I stopped wearing it because it became a distraction for me. So I totally understand that. So you have answered my 3 questions. I give everybody a chance to ask me one question. Do you have one for me?
I absolutely do. And because I've always been curious about this, because sometimes I'm on the other side of the fence, but you do a ton of sales training. You provide a ton of different content to hundreds of, if not more, promotional salespeople around the country. And so mine's a 2-part question because it's never simple with me. What do you find is the most commonly asked question from all the hundreds of people throughout the year that you coach and work with? And what is your typical answer to that question?
Okay. So it's probably a 50-50 answer since you asked me a 2-part question. Probably the number one question I get is where do I have the time, or how do I get all of what I'm doing done between the content, the marketing company, the brewery, all that stuff. How do I get all that done? And then the other one is, does social and content creation really create sales? So the answer to the social and content creation one is yes. It's one of those things if you do it right. I think so many people do social media and they do it as if they treat it like it's other media. It's a different animal. But how do I get so much done that's the one I struggle with, because it's like, my initial answer used to be I work more than you, but which is not what anybody wants to hear.
Sleep on Sunday.
Yeah. But what it is I've started to, over the last probably 4 years, I've spent a lot of time studying how I can be more productive with the hours I have. And so, I'm very intentional, and I'm about the things that I work on. And I'm also kind of greedy with those hours of time. If somebody, I actually was talking about this the other day, I got a call where somebody wanted to do a delivery in the middle of the day, and it really pissed me off. They weren't doing anything wrong, but it hijacked my day, and I can't afford to do that. So those are just kind of 2 of the things that I'm about getting more done that I'm pretty anal about. I want to make sure that I'm using every single minute that I have in each day, if that makes any sense.
I remember when we had a conversation like this, that was my question that I asked you. I'm like, with all the different things that you do, and not just the different things, but there's diversity within those things that you do. And each one of them are things that you can't half-ass your way through, that they're really intensive. How do you do it? Yeah, so that's a great answer.
Well, and I tell you what, Terry, the unfair piece is, I need to give the real answer too, is that I've got a group of people around here who kind of prop me up. So like Dustin, who's our video guy, edits these pieces, and Emily, my assistant, kind of makes sure I'm where I'm supposed to be. So having a really good team that helps you helps as well. So true. Cool. So true. Well, Terry, thank you so much. I know you're a busy guy too, and I really appreciate you taking the time, and I'll see you soon, I hope.
Sounds good. I appreciate the opportunity, and I imagine I'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps up this edition of Delivering Marketing Joy. We'll see you next time.